going on YouTube. So today we are going to do an install of a downpipe. We are going to go with the ArmyTrix downpipe. My boy's car here. I'll put his Instagram tag in the description, but he already has the ArmyTrix exhaust, which is what we're looking at here. The Club Sport rear diffuser, Maxton side splitters, and then the Maxton V2 front splitter. So we're gonna do the install video and show you how to do that. It's fun toys, man. It's fun toys. It's what gives you the sex noises. ArmyTrix Catless Downpipe on a Mk7 GTI. Alright guys, so first things first, you're gonna lift your car up. We're gonna take off this brace here. We're gonna loosen this from the Catback, and then we're gonna take out these two mounting bolts here for the bracket. So next we're taking off these two Allens up there. You can see them straight ahead for the heat shield. Two Allens that he's working to get to on top side of this. So we already got one out, but there's one up top that's kind of a pain to get to. Using an extension coming through the side. So up top here, after you get the bottom brackets out and then the exhaust separated, so the Catback you're going to separate, then you're going to take all the mounting bracket bolts out, and then come up top. You're going to take your clamp, your downpipe clamp off, and then you already removed your heat shield down there. So on top of the heat shield was a little bracket where the downpipe actually mounts to the engine block. You want to take the bolts out of that so that you can free up your downpipe. There's just two bolts. You'll see them when you're taking off the heat shield. And then now what James is doing here is just making sure everything's separated up top before we raise it again to pull out the pipe. And then we're just basically sliding it out after that and putting in a new one. This is the part that sucks. You gotta feed this, back feed it through. But because of the stock cat, it gets stuck on everything. You gotta kind of twist and pull. But the two brackets get in the way, so it helps to bend up the top of this heat shield a little bit. So after you manage to slide the old downpipe out, you gotta take the bracket off of this one because it's gonna go on your ArmyTrix downpipe. And then you also want to put the O2 sensor back in, because it is easier to put it back in before you put it back in rather than after. The reason you got to take it out first on this one, on the GTI version, is because you can't get to the second mounting bolt for the engine block without removing the O2 sensor. And then ArmyTrix being catless, this one should slide in pretty easily. Really the hard part is just going to be getting it back onto these mounting bolts here. One and one, that's what actually mounts it to the engine block. And then just this mount going back here with two bolts. So should be pretty simple going back in. All right, so right here, you went with the blocks one, right? The blocks extender? Yeah. Yeah, so we're doing the blocks O2 extension. This is to minimize those check engine lights. I run the same thing on my R, on the Circuit Works Catless downpipe. And the only check engine lights I've ever thrown are at the top of fifth, wide open throttle at the track. And maybe I've had it on for probably 8 months now, and I've only seen a CEL maybe 4 times at the track. So it does its job pretty well. Super cheap too, you might as well do it. But do it before you put the fucking downpipe on, because it's a bitch if you do it after.
What does that do? Makes it faster.
Bigger outlet for the exhaust.
Takes the catalytic converter out.
Should allow the turbo to spool quicker, shit like that. So this thing literally went in like a corkscrew. James just pretty much twisted the first side in and just kept going around, and it lined right up. So what do you got now? You're putting it back on that mounting brackets?
Yeah.
All right, so next, after you slide that pipe back in, we're putting it back on the mounting bracket. This right here. So it's mounting there and then on the other side. So after you get your mounting bolts back on to the engine block, just finger tighten them on, because when you're installing an exhaust here, you don't want to tighten everything up until the very end, because you might have to move shit around. So next we're putting the downpipe clamp back on to where it mounts to the turbo housing. Make sure that's good. Make sure everything lined up there, because if this isn't sealed, you'll be throwing check engine lights and it's just not good. You want everything to be tight. Want no boost leak, or no leaks at all, exhaust leaks, because that's gonna mess with your performance there. So far you fed in the new downpipe. You put your bracket back on here, but didn't tighten it yet on there. You mounted it back to the engine block with that bracket. Your O2 sensor's in with your spacer, and we have the clamp back on up top where it mounts to the turbo housing, and that is semi-tight just to hold everything still. And then nothing's completely tight. Yeah, I already told him that. And then so now we're just bolting it back to the catback now. And then once we know everything's lined up and good to go, then we'll cinch everything down, tighten it up, and that's it. We're done. Oh, and plug your O2 sensor back in when you're done too. That gray wire that runs behind the firewall. So everything's down here. Bolt it back up to the catback. Now these line up perfectly, so ArmyTrix sends you with a spare piece. With a spare piece here, just in case you still have the stock downpipe or stock catback. But because he's already got both ArmyTrix, this just slides right in. Perfect match. And that's that. So now he's just finishing tightening the bolts on the bracket to the engine block, and then we're done. We'll see what this bitch sounds like. See what she's got.
That's what the valves are closed. I
They're
think.
closed right now?
Yeah. Should be open now.
That sounds like it's just open.
Closed.
Closed?
Yeah.
So you couldn't even hear the difference before?
Now you could, yeah.
Yeah, rev it. See what it sounds like.
Closed.
Alright.
So I just go on it and I pick two things to monitor it, just so that it connects to the with the Bluetooth dongle that's on
And
there.
this is right through the exhaust?
And so reconnect, so it's connected. Then I have a remote here, then I could go off and go on, open the valves, auto, and then I can monitor shit too. Like you can like trouble code. There's no trouble codes. Like if there was a trouble code, it would have popped.
Right.
It would pop a window in there. Take some logs.
They're pretty cool because of the exhaust.
Yeah. And also go here. Yeah, you can monitor two things at a time, so you can
Gotcha.
pick, you could go here, add more things, water temp, fuel pressure, water temp, monitoring speed and RPM, but air fuel ratio. Maybe I should do, right? Air fuel ratio. Right now, it's pretty good.
Is there a piece that hooks into the OBD2 or
Yeah,
something?
there is a.
I was wondering how it got all the readings.
Yep.
Nice. It's like a half a JB4 already.
14.7. I don't know. That's usually.
14.7 is where it should be. It'll go lower as you get on it, though.
You think so?
Yeah, it's supposed to.
Anything?
No.
Green drink?
Yeah, you know what? Do you know what? Do you want to know?
Yeah, happy with it?
Yeah. This one, dude.
All right, bro, you rolling? Yeah, better, man. I like it. All right. I'll DM you.